Hello everyone, here I'm going to go ahead and give everyone some extra bonus material on materials. What I'm going to go ahead and do here is simply, I'm going to make a new material. Okay, so I right click in the content browser and I'm going to choose material, and I'm just going to go ahead and name this test underscore mat. Okay, alright, so here's the material. I'm going to go ahead and save it. And then, excuse me, what I'm going to go ahead and do is create a sphere. Okay, we're going to go ahead and scale this up. All right, just so we can see it. Okay, so then what I'm going to go ahead and do is apply this material to the sphere. And just simply drag and drop that onto here. Or you can go ahead, select the material, and you can hit this left arrow. That will go ahead and assign that material as well. Okay. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is double click on the material to open it up. Okay, here I'm going to go ahead and resize this window here. Alright, and here I'm using the right mouse click to move the grid over so I can see the nodes. Alright, so this top node here, this is base color. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is apply a constant 3 node to this. Okay. Alright, so when I go ahead and click save, okay, here it's black. Okay, so here we can control the color by clicking on this color swatch. Okay, so what I can do is change it from black. Let's say I want it red. Here I can make it red. Okay, so then when I hit save, okay, so then it applies. Okay, all right. So here's how you can control the color. So if you don't want red, you can choose purple, you can choose blue, any color that in here. Okay, and you can control it using RGB or HSV. Okay, so RGB stands for red, green, blue. HSV stands for hue, saturation, and value. Okay, all right. So if I was to hit OK and then hit save, it's going to go ahead and save as this light green. Okay. All right. So the next one down, this here is metallic. Okay, so for this one, you want to go ahead and enter, create a constant 1. To do that, we hold the 1 key and click on the grid. All right, so if this is, excuse me, say something we want like a matte material. So for the metallic, we're going to go ahead and make this, here I'm going to go ahead and make this be 0. And then here we'll go ahead, click save. Okay. All right, so if you enter a value of 1, this is going to go ahead and make it look metallic. So here I'll go ahead and hit save. Okay, so now this looks like excuse me, a light green metal. Okay, all right. So now you have a specular. Okay, so here's basically used to scale the current amount of specularity on non-metallic surfaces and is the value between 0 and 1. Okay, so here we can also enter in a constant 1. Okay, apply it to the specular. Okay, so here if I enter a value of 0, hit save. Okay, all right, so that looks like that. Oh, it has to be non-metallic, that's right. So here if I make the metallic be 0 and hit save. Okay, so by doing that, now it looks more matte. Okay, so if I go to specular and then enter a value of 1 and then hit save, okay, so now it has specular highlight. It's receiving specularity. Okay, so once again, that's 1. Here's 0. Okay, so see, it took away that specular highlight. Okay, all right. So I'm also going to go ahead and enter in constant 1 for the roughness. Okay, and then here I'll go ahead, hit save. Okay, so if I go back to specular and make this be a value of 1 and then hit save. Okay, so now it looks very reflective. It's reflecting the environment. Okay, all right. So by having it a roughness of 0, it becomes like a chrome ball. It's very reflective. Okay. All right, so here I'm also going to go ahead and show what this looks like at a value of 1. Okay, so you can see what it does between 0 and 1. So basically 1 is like matte. okay, and then 0 is like a chrome ball. Okay, so you have all the variation or gradation of in between when you enter in a decimal between 0 and 1. So let's say if you wanted 0.5, for example. Okay, so it's going to give you halfway in between. All right, so say 0.3. Okay, so you can see what it does. Okay, all right, so here I'm going to go ahead and make this be 0 again. Okay, and then for the metallic here, I'll go ahead, let's try 1. Okay, so we're going to really make it look like chrome. Okay, so the next one down is anisotropy, or sorry, anisotropy. Okay, and what that does, it determines the extent the specular highlight is stretched along the tangent. Anisotropy from 0 to 1 results in a specular highlight that stretches from uniform to maximally stretched along the tangent direction. Okay, so here I'm going to go ahead and create a constant 1, and we're going to see what this does. Okay, so here we'll say 0, hit save. Okay, and then here I'll go ahead and make this be 1, and then hit save, and then we'll see. Alright, so here I have some more specular highlights there. Okay, so here let's try 0.5. Okay. Alright, so here I'm going to try, I'm just playing here. Alright, so here if I make this be 1. Okay, make this be 0. Alright, so here, metallic, I'm going to go ahead and make that be 1 again. So I see you have to have a metallic surface in order for this to have any effect. Okay. Okay, and then normal, this is where you plug in a normal map into. So later on when we deal with the characters, yeah, I believe they have some normal maps, so we'll then be dealing with normal maps come then. Okay. And this other stuff, yeah, we won't be touching in any of the lessons that are for this class. But yeah, this concludes, connecting nodes. If you want to convert to parameter to create material instances, you can do so simply by, say, like this constant 3, we can convert this to parameters. You right click and choose convert to parameter, and then so this is the base color. Okay, so I showed this when creating my flying saucer master material, and then we created material instances off of that. So yeah, this is basically the same thing. Okay, the same steps. Okay, so you would create a base color. You know, if you want to create a parameter for metallic, you can. You choose convert to parameter. Okay, and then you go ahead and name this metallic. Okay, you can do the same thing for these other ones. Okay, so like this one, you can right click, choose convert to parameter. Okay, and then this here is specular. Okay, so here's this one, you can right click, choose convert to parameter. Okay, so this is roughness. Alright. Okay, so then you have this one here, anisotropy. Here you can right click and choose convert to parameter, and then here you can type in anisotropy. Okay. Cool. So this is emissive color. This is basically the glow color. So let's say if you wanted this to glow, here you make a constant 3 for this, okay? And then let's say you wanted it to glow red, for example. Okay, so then here I'll go ahead and plug this into emissive color. Okay, and here once again I can right click on this and choose convert to parameter, and then here I can choose emissive color. Okay. Excuse me. So next, you know, the emissive can also have a multiply node and then a constant 1, and then that can control how much glow it has. Okay, so like here I'm going to go ahead, hold the M key and click on the grid. That's going to create a multiply node. What I can then do is plug this into the multiply of A, and then this into the emissive color. Okay, so then what I can do is create a constant 1 by holding the 1 key and clicking on the grid. I can then connect that into B, and then right click here on the constant 1 and choose convert to parameter, and we'll go ahead and name this emissive amount. Okay, all right, cool. So now basically you can then save this material. All right, we can now close this, and once again, to create a material instance, you just right click and then choose create material instance. Okay, so this is going to be test mat inst. So then I can plug this into the sphere and then open this test mat up. And now, with the beauty about material instances is that they act, they're interactive. Okay, so like say here, here I can then control these. Okay, so say here's the emissive amount. This here's going to then start to glow. Here, if I want to change the base color, maybe I want, you know, I can just make this be 0. Okay, maybe I don't even need base color. Okay, so here I'm going to go ahead, have that be black. All right, so here's the specular. Okay, maybe that can be off, or you can do a 1. You can tell it whether 0, this thing will be reflective. With 1, yeah, it'll be matte. You know, here, if you enter in 0, it's going to be non-metallic. If you enter in 1, it's going to be metallic. Okay. All right. So then here's the emissive amount. This is how much glow it has. Okay, and it can affect the scene. All right. Okay. So then here's anisotropy. All right, so here I'm going to go ahead and make that be 0. Okay, cool. And then here we can control the emissive color. Okay, so you can see, yeah, everything is all interactive. Okay, so as I change this, it'll change on here too. Okay, so let's say you don't want it to glow. Instead, here I'm going to go ahead and reset this. Here I'm going to go ahead and make this be black. So I'm going to make this all be 0. Hit OK. All right. Instead, what I'm going to go ahead and maybe use is the base color. Okay. So here, once again, you can control the color, and we can see it has like this matte finish, and we're just changing the color of it. Okay. Cool. So that's yeah, basic materials. Down below, you can tell this to be two-sided. Let's say if this was for something that was like on a polygon plane, but you want it to be two-sided. Say maybe it was for hair or for a blade of grass. Those kind of materials, you want to make sure that they're two-sided. Same thing with glass. Glass, you want to have those be two-sided as well. And speaking of glass, here, if I come back over into the test mat material, I'm going to go ahead and make this be a little larger. Okay, so here we have other nodes. There's opacity and opacity mask. Okay, So in opacity, here if I change the blend mode to be translucent, okay, so then what I can do, if it's the blend mode is translucent, what I can do is here I can plug in I believe a constant 1, all right, and then plug this into opacity, and then right click on this, choose convert to parameter, and then here we can name this opacity amount. Okay, so here I'll go ahead, or here you don't need opacity amount, it can just be opacity. Okay, so here we'll go ahead and hit save. So then when I come back over to the material inst, here's opacity. Okay, so here it's 0. All right, so and then to be fully opaque, it'll be a value of 1. Okay. So yeah, it's going to go between 0 and 1. All right. So let's say opacity, you have opacity mask. Opacity mask is when you have an alpha channel. Okay. So let's say you're using an image like a PNG file. Okay. So then the alpha of that PNG file would then go into the mask. Okay, so I don't have one on me as an example, but yeah, basically you'll have a texture node that you then import into here. You bring that texture node into here, and then you connect the A, which is alpha, into the opacity mask. Okay, so here I'm going to go ahead and leave this material alone. So here I'm going to go ahead and now talk about opaque is when it's a solid color, it's not transparent and not masked. And translucent when it's transparent and a light can shine through it. Masked is when say like it's a blade of grass or hair or some type of foliage like leaves, you know, where there's an alpha, and then that alpha will be plugged into opacity mask, and then the base color for RGB will then be plugged into the base color. Okay. So yeah, I typically only use these 3. Okay. All right, and then here's default lit. Excuse me. I'll go ahead and explain some of these. So if it's unlit, you know, typical, this is for like when I do an HDRI sky, here I'll make that be unlit. Or say if it's going to be something that glows, you may want to go ahead and use unlit. You don't have to, but that's definitely an option. Default lit. Here are the nodes that it covers. So but you gotta also change it. So all the shading model and the blend mode, they work together hand in hand. So you gotta think about what type of material you're trying to create. Okay. So this is the default, which is default lit and opaque, and you get all of these nodes. Okay. All right. So then here's subsurface. Subsurface that could be used for like vegetation, where light shines on top, and it'll you can see some light pass through on the underside. Okay, same thing, you know, like on characters, they light hits, you know, the hand, and then you see some red light underneath. Okay. So, and then yeah, hair, claw, eye. So there's all these different shading models to choose from. Okay. All right. So here I'm going to go ahead and save this and close out. And yeah, that's pretty much it for materials. That covers it. All right. Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this video. In the next video, I'll go ahead and talk about cameras more in depth.